Dan.
Fingers crossed. 3, 2, 1. Former culture secretary Nadine Dorries with speech. Hello.
Hello. You need to upgrade your Zoom package.
Listen, let me tell you, you ran a government department and you can't work a Zoom machine, Dorries. What's going on? Welcome to the show.
Your Zoom machine. Mine was fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. 40 MPs, interestingly led by Genric, not Braverman. Labour trying to find out how much it costs. What's your view? What's your overview of Rwanda, Nadine?
Look, the bill as it stands will not stop the ECHR issuing Article 39, I think it is, and it just won't work. And the reason why the rebels are laying down the amendments is because they want a bill that will work. But of course, you have the Conservative Party is really now two parties. It's the One Nation group, and they're the group who don't want reform of the BBC, don't want reform of the licence fee, didn't want the sale of Channel 4. When I was Secretary of State, I came across them a lot. And they're really very far to the left of the Conservative Party. They're more Liberal Democrats, really. Mm-hmm. And then you've got those who are the Brexiteers. Back in the 2015 election, 2016, these are the guys who came here as the Brexiteers. And they have true Conservative principles at their heart, and they want to deliver on the promise of Brexit, which is to, protect our borders and deliver those freedoms. And so that is why they're laying down the amendments, because they want to honour what they went out and campaigned for, which is Brexit. And it's going to be a huge bun fight next week, but they won't stop the bill passing. They wouldn't go that far. So, the vote next week will pass. There'll be all the drama, the usual hyped up drama of, the public being led to the top of the hill, believing some high drama moment's going to take place and the bill isn't going to pass, but it will. And yeah, it'll be an interesting, it'd be an interesting debate to watch. But the bottom line is to simplify it. If the bill goes through as it is and none of those amendments are accepted, we will not be able to fly those illegal immigrants to Rwanda. It just won't happen. And it makes
talk about all that kind of
why is Sunak so keen to pass a bill that won't deliver what he says he wants to happen.
So it sounds like you're in the camp of people saying that we need to strengthen up the legislation. The problem is, you talk about all this drama, it plays pretty terribly with the public when it looks like, if you define the party as being basically one of two groups, that they can't just get together, because looking at the polls and an election coming, the latter part of this year, if the Conservatives can't agree on what to do, why should the public vote for them?
Well, that's a very good question. And this division really it's always been, it's always run underneath in the Conservative Party. It was there back in the 90s. It's been there a long time. But it was Brexit, the referendum, which kind of exposed them and created the rift. And we're still trying to deliver. Those who were Brexiteers are still trying to deliver, like myself, on the promises that were made during Brexit. And this is one of them. And I'm afraid, and the interesting thing is that Rishi Sunak, his entire time as Chancellor for the whole 3 years, was completely and utterly opposed to Rwanda.
Which if I can jump in, Nadine, which absolutely verifies everything I've said, which is stabbing Boris Johnson in the back and having 2 years as leader was far more important. He did a deal with Suella Braverman, knowing he disagreed with Rwanda because he wanted to be in 10 Downing Street. I want to move on, but I will say this. I think the Tory Party will split. It's been going on since Maastricht. I think something like the Social Democrats or something a party like that, and there will be a right-wing organisation. I genuinely do. Can I, if it's OK with you, can I move it on to an amazing, and I mean this, total respect, the article you wrote at the weekend about Dignitas and about your late husband, and this debate about assisted dying now, which Esther Ranson has started, and you have quite strong views on this, Nadine.
Yeah, my views come not only from my time as a nurse, but also from having nursed my late husband for 4 months, having received a brutal diagnosis of having bowel cancer and having just 4 months to live. And almost within the hour of that diagnosis, he said to me, I want to go to Dignitas while I still can now. But the fact is he couldn't, because the Dignitas, I've always said the devil's in the detail. You can't just take yourself to Dignitas. I've had so many people who've contacted me since. This article was out yesterday in the Daily Mail. I've had so many people who contacted me since and said, if I get dementia, I want to go. The fact is Dignitas isn't there, and assisted dies isn't there for people with Alzheimer's or dementia, because you can't make a compos mentis decision. So I'm against. Paul refused chemotherapy. That was, he felt, the only thing he could control. But at the end, it was he regretted not having that chemotherapy because he wanted to have longer with us and we wanted longer with him. And he said the last 4 months of his life were the best 4 months of his life because we made it so. So it's then there is no such, and I think the most important point is not my personal experience, but the point is there's a lot of people say they want assisted dying because they talk about bad deaths and they talk about painful deaths. And today we have morphine syringe drivers and sophisticated medication, and we have fantastic hospice movement and amazing palliative care services. And the fact is that nobody today, very, very rarely does anybody have a bad death or die in pain. And on the rare occasion that may happen, that's down to the local care commissioning board not commissioning adequate palliative care services via their primary care. But it doesn't happen. You know, it still is a prioritised area of primary care. It's one where people are put on syringe drivers as soon as they need them, and most people die peacefully today.
Nadine, thank you. I know we've had problems technically. I could talk about this forever. Appreciate your comments on your personal story. Great article, by the way. Go online and check that out. And thank you for your comments on Rwanda. And we'll speak to you very soon. The amazing Nadine Dorries,